Welcome back to another edition of the MO-Wiff 3 Up, 3 Down podcast. This is our third episode. I'm your host, Cam Smith. I am joined, as always, by Adam North. Adam, how's it going today?
Good. I had a pretty long week at work, so excited to start the weekend talking about wiffle ball. So ready to have a good
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it's been a very long week for me as well. My wife had a very busy week, so it was me and Delaney kind of all by ourselves. And as much as I loved it, it gets gets a little stressful towards the
Sure.
after a couple days by herself. But we did good. She had a couple shots this week, so she was a little down and out and tired all the time, but she is a champ, and we got through it and had a good time together.
Nice.
So yeah, so this episode we got a couple different things. It's still early in the off season. We got a lot of big things coming up, so nothing too crazy for this episode, with our first segment here. But I, kind of just want to start off with a big thank you to a bunch of people, and then we'll get on to some who me and you think our teams are going to keep for next year. So, we each team has the option to keep one player from last year. We'll kind of give our predictions, and then we will wrap up with a interview with Jordan Smith to talk about his new team. He is the new captain of the MO-Wiff Archer. So we'll get into that a little bit later. You ready, Adam?
Yep. Let's get into it.
All right, let's do it. First up, we are going to say a big thank you to a bunch of people. This is a kind of segment that I wanted to start with. And I wanted to start with you, Adam. I want to thank you first off. Thank you for sitting in with me. Thank you for hitting up the YouTube and, making that look good. And just an overall, thank you to you, before we start, getting into everything else.
Yeah, for sure. I want thank you as well. I mean, you could have asked anybody to do this show with you, and you asked me. So I always grateful to do this with you and enjoy talking about wiffle ball. So it's always a good time.
Absolutely. And I will say you were my first choice when I thought about doing this. So
Sweet.
it was perfect when you said yes. I was like, all right,
Appreciate
cool. We don't got to look too hard. uh, Second off, I want to thank all of our listeners so far. I've been getting a lot of feedback from everybody. And I just want to say that I really appreciate it. The text messages that people have said, hey, man, great show. We love listening. Like, yeah, it's just really cool, and getting feedback really helps us. But yeah, I just want to say I really appreciate everyone, listening to us and kind of helping us grow.
Yep, for sure. I've gotten a lot of feedback from friends and family that have been listening, and it's all been good things. And even if there's bad things, we want to hear it, want to improve, and want to put out a good show for you guys. So
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone does have any ideas that maybe they want to hear us talk about, please shoot us a DM
for
on
sure,
Twitter or a personal message, whatever, to me or Adam, and we'd love to hear your feedback and get some more stuff into the show for you guys.
absolutely.
And then a big thing that I wanted to say thank you on was our sponsors. MO-Wiff would not really have happened last year. It might have happened, but not as well as it would have happened,
For sure.
without our sponsors last year. And this year, man, we are adding on. You can tell from a couple of our posts already. We've started to get out. I think actually we might have most of them posted by the time that this episode actually comes out. It's Saturday right now. This episode will be out on Tuesday. But man, it is just the amount of people that we've helped that have helped support us. I'm just going to run by this list that we have so far. But man, it's just crazy how this list is growing and people are really helping. And, I think ultimately that's going to help put a great product for us on the field,
Absolutely.
not only just, besides just being there, but, having the nice field that we play on with the lights. But I think we're going to have a really big change in our live streams. I think that's going to be really cool. You guys are really going to love seeing that. We're in the works with a couple of different things for that. So that's going to be really awesome. But here's just a list of the sponsors we have so far. Feather Shark, Adam North, you worked there.
Yep.
UCC STL. So both of our division sponsors will be back and they will both be division sponsors again. And then we have 27 outs. We have Promotional Consultants, which is the company I work for. Public Schoolhouse, which really interested to check them out. I know we were talking about it the other day. The pictures looked awesome.
Yeah.
FGM Logistics, I believe, will be back. Game Time Tournaments, who we just posted. I think that's Jason's company.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these are guys from the league that we're getting these. Then we have Between the Lines, and I believe I kind of saw a couple messages on Instagram between Josh and the Walk Off Back Company. So
Yeah.
I think they're going to be a sponsor for us as well, and I'm really excited to see them. I'm really excited for everybody to get to use that bat. I mean, I can't say that enough, but I think there is some more to come. We just haven't got it all finalized yet, but we can't be where we're at. We can't be doing this. We can't be putting out a great product for you guys if it wasn't for all of our sponsors. So first off, I wanted to do a little short segment and just thank everybody, thank our listeners. It's been great, and we really, really appreciate it. So
yep, absolutely.
All right, and then we'll just we're gonna dive right into our next segment here. So we have our keeper predictions, and I think a lot of this is we kind of know what everyone's going to do, but nothing's really been finalized. But it's really going to be just exciting to see kind of what our predictions are, and then where we can see what's going to happen in a couple. And I think we're about just a month away from on tomorrow will be a month away for our draft. So really looking forward to it. So we'll just get into a little draft conversation, and we'll start it next episode. We'll probably talk a little bit more about the draft. I know we'll have our spring training event finalized, so we'll be able to talk about that, and we'll have our draft order. So then we can actually really start diving into the draft and, where kind of everybody sits, what we kind of think is going on. And we will give you guys a big rundown on how our draft will work. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait for that. All right, Adam, let's see here. We're going to start with R2 because, we've kind of hinted at it in our last couple episodes. I don't think it's any surprise who I'm keeping. We've talked about it. But, losing Andrew to, his own team, the Thunderbirds, I don't have that number 2 pitcher anymore, but, my first draft pick from last year was Jake Welnick. And, I'll say it here first, he's staying, he's going to stay a Bomber. And, maybe I'll put out a post here on Tuesday from the Bombers account, and we'll make it official. Why not? Right.
All right.
I don't think it's any surprise. He's one of my best friends, and I love playing with him. So, is that kind of what you were thinking? You think I was going to keep him?
Oh yeah.
I know we kind of hinted at it, but
yeah. And when Jake figures out the bat, there were a few times where it started to shine, and then he can definitely be a dangerous hitter. So not a bad keeper at all.
Yeah, and you saw it really big. Throughout the season, he had hits here and there off of a bunch of guys. Didn't have the home run numbers that I thought he would have. I think he only had 1, but I think more will come this year. But you really saw him shine late in the season last year in the postseason. Sure. He won us a big game against the Empire to get us to the finals, and then actually had the game-winning RBI off Sam Skibby in game 1. Yep. So, 2 really big game-winning hits that really helped solidify our championship in that first year. So no doubt for me to keep him. Looking forward to see what we can get in the rest of the draft. But
yeah, for sure.
And we'll go to you.
All right. I'm sure it's obvious as well. We've talked about it. It was like Cam said, I even named my team, inspired my team name around Brett Spencer's pitch. So yeah, Brett is gonna be my keeper. It wasn't necessarily the easiest decision. I did have some good players. BK is obviously an incredible defender and can solidify any team, and he's definitely going to go early in the draft. And Mark Vogler, also one of the best hitters in the league last year. He hit very, very well. Another guy that I'm very upset to lose, and I'm not looking forward to losing at either of them. But definitely keeping Brett Spencer. His pitching numbers were insane last year. In the Cy Wiffle conversation, I think he finished third, fourth, third. Yep.
Yeah, he was third.
So definitely looking forward to that. And I mean, he hit well too. So I hit well at UWIFs, hit well in MO-Wiff in our season. So yeah, really excited to keep Brett. We got pretty close last year, so excited to
Yeah,
have him
that's
back.
good.
Yep.
Definitely got to keep that. Got to have that big time pitcher and then good bat as well. So a guy that can do both, is perfect. It
Yep. Can't
does
pass
suck
that up.
losing those other guys because I mean, you put them all together and you guys build that friendship. But who knows? Maybe you pick them up in the draft too, and
For sure.
you know, we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
definitely up on a lot of other guys' radar as well.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, now we'll get into some of the other teams besides R2. So, these are some we don't really know, but we can make our predictions and kind of see what we have. And I think we'll start with the obvious one in the Mojo.
Yep.
The reigning MVP
Yep.
on their team. I don't think there's any secret there. That's one that you gotta keep.
Yeah,
That's
for
one
sure.
guy you can't let go to the draft. So
Yeah.
same Skibby. I see him being in a Mojo uniform next year for sure.
Absolutely. And then even just as a counter argument, Chris Metter is the best defender in the West region. I mean, he won that award, and he'll show that again in MO-Wiff next year. He was our best defender, and I mean, again, just like BK, he'll improve any team instantly, and would be a good keeper if he didn't have Sam Skibby as a teammate.
Absolutely. And, we've seen it time and time again. And I think this year, with our new rules, he's even going to get more chances to show off his fielding ability next year. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see that. And, another guy on their team, Logan Trotter, that's going to be very exciting to see, where he kind of fits in next year. He's
Yeah.
really raised his draft stock from last year, had a bunch of big home runs. I think he led the league in grand slams last year. I don't know that for sure, but I don't remember anyone else having. I think
Yeah.
he had I think he had 3 grand slams.
Yeah.
It was insane. But then watching him pitch at the end of the year when no
Yeah.
one knew he could pitch.
I don't think
So
he even knew. And he just did
exactly.
it.
Yeah, hard throwing lefty, makes sense. But
Yeah.
and he was a great fielder too. I think
Yep.
he finished in the top 3
Yeah, I think so.
of the Gold Hands Award and doing it from an outfield position too. I mean, I saw him rob a couple home runs. So these players are going to be, really good. It's going to be interesting to see where the draft goes because everyone really showed their true potential last year, and I think it's only going to get better.
Yep, agreed.
All right, our next team is going to be the Mambas. So what do you think? Where do you think Cole's going to go here? Because Collins Zerweller is unfortunately not going to be able to play this year. So I know he had a tough decision there. He had a couple big guys, but losing Colin, kind of narrows it down. But what do you think?
I think similar to my keeper, I think Jackson Crosley's the easy pick. He's a guy that can do both, and you can't pass that up. A lights out pitcher in our league when he can throw fast with his screwball. It's basically unhittable. He was a great pitcher last year, and he can hit too. So I think that's the easy one.
Yeah, he definitely had a very not really sneaky, but like a lot of people, he comes from the SWBL, and a lot of people, never thought of him as a hitter until the past couple of years. And then, even coming into our league, we're like, all right, it's fast pitch. We're not really sure how Jackson will do hitting fast pitch, but man, he really surprised a lot of people last year.
Yeah.
Had a great season at the plate. He did miss a couple games that kind of hurt him, but man, he really shined at the plate. And like you said, I mean, he really just is a number one pitcher that you can't really afford to lose. It would have been interesting to see, so this year the NWLA tournament will be in July. So it's not going to interfere with their playoffs this year. It would have been interesting to see last year, had he been able to throw game 1 against you guys, what that could have said for that,
Absolutely.
that playoff matchup. But
completely different series. In game 2, he shut us down. So it just shows how different that series could have been.
Yeah. So no surprise there, but Cole does have a lot of great players on the team. Losing Colin does hurt. But we saw Alex get a lot of time on the mound. Last year, he really improved. So his draft stock's going up because guys are going to need pitching this year.
Yep.
And then Greg, I don't think Greg had the season that he wanted to, but he definitely shined at times. Had the big home run off Josh. I think he was the first home run off Josh.
Yep.
And not many people did that. But definitely had a couple home runs. I think he had a couple off of us even. had a couple great plays in the field. I know he turned a big double play in a key time. Greg's definitely a guy that, he's a good player all around. So not a guy that, and he had a 0 ERA on the mound.
Yeah. It's interesting as we go through this list, there's a lot of guys that kind of slipped down towards the bottom last year because nobody knew who they were, that are going to be mid to high tier picks next year because now people have seen them play.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Really cool to see.
And then now we have the melon heads, and I think it's been very obvious, in the group chat. So a lot of people know, but you never know with Jason. He could throw a curveball at us, but I think it's got to be Spencer Bogad. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. Again, I mean, you can't pass up a guy that can do both, that can hit and pitch, and Spencer's that guy. I think Blake is a hard one to turn down. Another guy who I don't think was able to show his pitching because of some injuries last year, but I think he's a guy that can also do both. But I think Spencer's the easy one there.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and Spencer has a great bat and a great arm as well. But yeah, one guy that's going to be at the top of a lot of people's list too is, like you said, Blake.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't show it last year with his pitching as much, but he does have the ability to get out there and get you some innings. Mm-hmm. And I think this new rule is really going to help him at the plate. He was a great hitter last year. He was an all-star. Yep. Just from his time at the plate, and he really shined. And I think it's going to be more of the same from him this year.
Agreed. Yep.
And then here's an interesting one. Our last team is the Empire. Yep. Losing Jordan, no one really knows what Josh is thinking. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. What are you kind of thinking with the Empire?
I think it's a tough one. I think again, a lot of the obvious ones that people I think are going to go with are the guys that can do both. And I think he had a lot of one-sided players that maybe didn't show their true potential on both sides, but and who knows, maybe he doesn't keep a peaker. But I think his best hitter. I mean, Mike had a game where I think he had like 7 hits against that comeback against was it the
Mambas?
Yeah, and I think that is a ceiling that not a lot of players have. Yeah. So I think it's hard to pass up an offensive player like that that can show out like that in a game. So I think Mike might be a good keeper for him.
Yeah, I think the big thing with Josh, we've kind of heard, with our interview last week, and I've talked to him about his shoulder, or maybe it's his elbow. Mine's my shoulder. His is his elbow. But I think it's going to depend on that, how his arm is doing, because if he's not able to throw, maybe he doesn't keep anyone and he needs to really find a number one pitcher. Yeah. Nick is a guy that, we've seen really working on his pitching, and I think is going to get a lot more time this year to be able to see what he can do. Mm-hmm. But it, struggled with control a little bit last year and doesn't have the typical speed that, some of the other guys have, but and he had a couple big hits last year. Yeah, so absolutely. Nick was a good player too, but like you said, Mike was a great hitter. Even Parker had a bunch of big hits, from that left side. Two lefties on that lineup was awesome for Josh, but yep. And I know Parker can throw a little bit too. So definitely a tough decision. I wouldn't be surprised if he picked any of them. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't, just to try to go out and get a big arm because he really needs it.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, if he doesn't keep a picker, or if doesn't pick a
keep
keeper,
anyone,
then he gets a higher draft pick. He gets to go with those guys that are with the Archers and the
Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds, thank you.
So on that, our first round will be the Archers and the Thunderbirds, and then if anyone doesn't keep anyone, they will be in that first round as well. And then our second round will start with every team, all 8 teams, and we will randomly draw, since our teams are shifting, we will randomly draw for those spots. So maybe the Archers and Thunderbirds, aren't going to get 2 number 1 picks. They could, it's possible. But maybe they get the first pick in that first round and then the last pick in the second round. You never know. But that's going to be exciting. And then we'll do a snake draft from rounds 2 to the final round. So
yeah. So that's why
definitely interesting, but yeah.
That I was just saying, that's why it might be enticing, even more enticing for Josh to not keep anyone, because he gets an extra pick in that first round, and then he can really get a number one guy and a guy that can do both.
Yeah, and there's some good pitchers that are going to be in this draft. We got a couple new guys. Some guys we don't really know what to do with yet because we haven't seen, but we will see here in I think like a week and a half. I think a week. Once this episode comes out, it'll be a week away.
Yep.
So any guys that are new to the league or even from the league last year, if you're listening to this and you want to show your talent and what you've kind of improved on or what you kind of got to work with, make sure you come to the winter workout and show us what you have, and who knows, maybe if it's a player from last year and maybe a guy like Josh isn't really sure on who he's going to keep, maybe by the end of the night he's like, all right, this is the guy I'm going to keep because he really showed that he put in that offseason work and got better. So
for sure,
you just never know what could happen. I'm just really looking forward to this draft.
Me too.
I'm excited for the spring training, to kind of get all these little details finalized. But man, it's an exciting time. And I talked to Cole the other day and he's like, I've been doing some mock drafts, and I was like, I want to, but I was like, I don't know the order. I don't know the final list of all the players. But man, it's just, it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait to get to that mock draft as well.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Anything else you want to add on the any predictions or what you kind of think for the keeper draft?
I wanted to ask you, so some of the guys that aren't going to be keepers, who do you think are some of the top tier players that are going to be going into the draft?
Oh, that's a great question. And I've thought about it, and I've thought about, asking that question, and it's like, man, do I kind of want to let everybody know what I'm thinking? But,
Sure,
I think
you don't want to disclose that.
Sure, no. Yeah, but it is a good question. But, I think a guy like Blake, is going to be huge. Mark, definitely. BK, Chris, like, these are all really, really good players that anyone would be happy to have on their team. So I would say, my top three would be Blake first because of his hitting is so good, and especially with the new rule. Chris Metter because of his hitting and fielding. That's a solid guy. And then, the third one stuff, because there are so many, but I would probably have to say Mark because he does a little bit of both. And, we saw his pitching last year, and we definitely saw his hitting. So,
yep, for sure. Yeah, those are definitely, I would agree. I think those are the three guys that I think of when I think of guys that probably aren't getting kept. And then where they're going to end up in the draft, I think is pretty high for all three of those guys. Absolutely.
Yeah, but like I said, you never know. Maybe some other guys have been working real hard, and there's just a lot of really good players in our league.
New players coming in too.
Oh yeah, like there's going to be some new guys that are high on the draft. I wouldn't be surprised if a new player is one of those top 3 picks. I would not be surprised at all.
Yep.
I'm not going to give that away because maybe they're on my board, but I definitely have seen a couple of great players that have signed up this year.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And now we are going to get ready to bring on Jordan Smith for our weekly interview, or I guess bi-weekly. Is that right?
Sure. Something like that.
Every other week. We might not do an interview every week or every episode, but I really am going to enjoy doing these interviews. So
for sure,
we'll bring you an interview with Jordan Smith coming up next. All right. And we are ready for our third segment of the day. We're going to bring on a special guest, Jordan Smith of one of the newest MO-Wiff teams, the MO-Wiff Archers. Jordan, how are you doing today, man?
Not bad. Excited to be here. Was definitely honored when you guys reached out about having me on. Feel like it was a perfect fit, kind of like you said in your text. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I wanted to get you, and we're gonna have Andrew on soon. Two of the new teams that are coming into the expansion draft, and wanted to get you guys on to kind of introduce you guys to the league and the fans. A lot of people know your names, but don't know a lot about you guys. So I figured it was a perfect way for us to start, and just excited to get to know more about you, and I'm sure the listeners are as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll start off, by talking about last year. It was your first year playing wiffle ball, right?
First year. Yep. Ever.
Yeah, so brand new. And I mean, I know we saw you at the tryout, and a lot of us noticed your potential, and you really dove right into the league and kind of helped us out a lot. So it kind of made a perfect sense to match up. But talk about kind of your first year as a player. What did you think overall about the whole style and the whole wiffle ball aspect? What did you think about all that?
Yeah, absolutely. You said it perfect. At the tryout, I remember I would pick up a wiffle ball and like look at somebody and be like, how do I grip this thing to make it do this or do that? Like I had no idea what I was doing, but played baseball my whole life, super competitive. And so I knew this was something that I would probably like and enjoy. So, I think this first year for me was just kind of learning a lot. I remember I was texting you all the time. I was texting a fellow league member Josh all the time once he drafted me, texting Sam Skibby all the time, just like trying to learn more, understand kind of the whole wiffle ball circuit, national tournaments, this, that, how it all worked, and was just immediately hooked. I'd played slow pitch softball like in college a few years, like since college, and it's fun, but it just didn't scratch the itch quite like wiffle ball has for me from missing my baseball days. So, I was very torn about signing up for the league. Funny enough, because I didn't know a soul, and that's just not my style. And I told myself just 1 year. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. And boy, did I make a good decision. So I guess anybody out there that's on the fence, if you're like, I don't know about this, like, just give it a try. It's just a year. You never know. So
I think that's the perfect way to explain it too. Cause I mean,
yeah.
I remember texting you and, when you first got into it, I mean, I was like showing you videos of, hey, this is kind of where I kind of learned from. And I did the same thing with Adam. Both of you guys were kind of in that same position. And I'm really glad to see that both of you guys have really, taken that in and really put that, that mindset in of this is really a lot of fun. And you guys have built such a good foundation for a good wiffle ball player and just a good like mindset in the league overall. And it's been awesome to see watch both of you guys grow. I've really enjoyed working with you guys. Now that the first year is kind of out of the way too, my goal is, now that the Bombers got this championship, my real goal is to, and I feel like I did this a lot last year, but I really want to help everybody get better and better. And I kind of want to, and it's tough for me to do, but like I want to be more of a teacher this year and kind of help everybody grow. I think that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
man,
think you did. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think you did a great job of that the first year too, man.
Yeah, I would agree.
I remember you were so quick to send me videos, YouTube videos, TikToks, Twitter, whatever, or how to cut a ball. This is how I like to cut it. Here, just take this one. Then they take a lot of time,
They
so
do.
to be able to. So I think you did such a good job at that, regardless. And kind of wrapping back around to the first year thing, I think that's what hooked me in so much so early is just how nice all of you guys are, how nice everybody in the entire league is, and whether it's the Skivvy League or this league, and just so many good guys. And that, along with the competitive aspect, that like a competitive guys like us can go out there and get that part of it too, but also like be really good friends and have a great time. And I look forward to Thursdays because like, oh, I get to go hang out with a bunch of like-minded guys. And
exactly.
And I think that was just so important for the first year that allowed me and got me hooked and excited for the future.
Yeah, that is a cool part about our league because it would be fun even if we weren't being competitive and just joking around and like at the All-Star game almost. But the fact that it is so competitive is just that edge that makes it even more fun.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, because I even played softball for a couple of years. I was playing softball and wiffle ball on the same nights at times, and it was a long night.
Yeah.
can't do that anymore. But I really loved it. And then, but now I've almost like gone away with softball completely, only because like it really doesn't have that competitive itch that that we get from wiffle ball, and it's so different. But I love it so much. But talking about last year, man, as your first year, it is crazy to see, kind of what you did. You were, I think, 4th in our Cy Wiffle voting. And I think majority of that is you didn't have as many innings as some of the other guys, but man, you really shined. You were one of the last people to give up like a hit. You're the only person in the league with significant innings that did not give up a home run. Very impressive. Just overall, just an impressive season on the mound. You probably throw, I mean, I would say probably the hardest in the league last year. I mean, you were probably throwing a little bit harder than I was.
It'll be depending on the night, maybe.
Yeah,
probably behind.
I think it'll be
most
interesting
nights.
this year once we don't like now that we have the radar and
True.
you know we're able to see that. But it was really cool to watch you just improve last year and just really just mow people down at the mound. And man, it was fun to watch. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do this year now that you have a year under your belt. What was kind of your favorite memory from last year?
Favorite memory would, I mean, I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, just like every Thursday, I feel like I look forward to, whether it was my team was playing, my team was not. I showed up plenty of Thursdays where I wasn't playing just because I enjoyed watching, I enjoyed hanging out with people. So I just think my favorite memory looking back on it is probably just kind of like the community and the friendship that we built, outside of winning or losing or having a great year, having a bad night or whatever. Regardless, it was always something that I look forward to. I never was like, oh, I gotta go play wiffle ball tonight. It was like, oh, I get to go play wiffle ball tonight. So I think that's just, looking back on the first year of MO-Wiff in particular, I think that's definitely my favorite memory. And I mean, if we talk about the whole season, I know we might jump into this in a little bit, but like U-Wiffs, obviously that's an insane, awesome memory. Hometown Cup, incredible memory. So like those kind of have they're kind of in their own tier of doing their own thing. But in terms of the MO-Wiff League, I think my favorite thing about the first year was just, the overall community. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, we really appreciated, you kind of stepping in and helping out. You helped a lot with the setup, and I think you even did some commentary a couple of times, and just all those kind of aspects really made our decision easy as, hey, this guy wants to be a captain, and it wasn't even a question for us. It was like, this guy, he does a lot for the league. He fits the mold as a captain material, and he has the caliber of play that will kind of keep that competitive balance along, and it just really worked out. So we really appreciate that from you as well.
Yeah, I know it was a tough for Josh to let go, and I mean, I part of me kind of enjoyed my role last year. I had such a great time. It was like, is this something that I want to do? Because it'll be different. I know had I'd stayed with Josh and done a year or two at the Empire, like it would have been awesome. And so that was hard to kind of step away from because I had such a great first year. But I'm also really excited about kind of developing, my own team, my own, not brand maybe, but just my own kind of identity.
Brand.
And just my own team for this year will be awesome too. And maybe for guys, if I end up with guys on my team who are brand new, I know I only have a year, but teach what I learned in my 1 year to guys who are brand new that are on my team. So looking forward to that too. Yeah,
absolutely. We'll definitely, we're going to dive into that. But, before we do that, kind of want to keep on the last year trend. You did go to 2 national tournaments, like you mentioned, Hometown Cup and U-Wiffs. How was, you said you had a great time, but, how kind of was that experience for you? And, you start with Hometown Cup because that's the one you went to first. You played on my team, me, Josh, you, and Cole, and Doug was even a part of it. How much fun did you have there? And do you plan on going back again this year?
Yes. So Hometown Cup, I think you might have mentioned this in the first episode that I was listening to, that, you kind of went in like maybe unknowing about the play style. I was kind of the same way. Like, how is this going to work? Sounds weird. It's different from the very limited experience of wiffle ball that I have. It just sounds completely different. And I mean, right away, I was like, this is awesome. It's more hitting focused, more defense focused, which I really enjoy. And
our defense was locked down.
It was so good. Yeah,
it really was.
Good. Yeah, we had a great defensive team. And I mean, I feel like that was kind of the next step of getting closer with like you, Josh, Doug, Cole. Like we had such a great weekend staying at the Airbnb and hanging out. And we were super competitive right off the bat, even though we were super inexperienced, competing with top teams, the team that had won 4 or 5 times, being right there with them for most part of the game. We kind of faltered at the end, but it was overall just awesome first kind of national out of town experience, and absolutely plan to go back as many times as I can. Funny enough, we have a family vacation already planned that's like borders the weekend. It's like I could leave a day early and make it to Hometown Cup. So that's on the table. I'm not saying I can't go, but I hope to go as many times as I can going forward.
Good deal. It's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah, the people in New Carlisle are super nice, super welcoming. They got the Midwest. Everybody come in, let's have a good time. So yeah, it was a great weekend.
Absolutely. And then yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll definitely have to keep talking about that. But then the second tournament, U-Wiffs, you played with Adam. I know you got some text about some other teams beforehand, but you ended up going with MO-Wiff Miracle, which I thought was a great decision. You guys did well. Talk about that. You guys, you and Adam both on that team. You guys made a deep run and it made it into Sunday, which my team didn't even do. Talk about that, and if you plan on going back to there as well.
Absolutely. And yeah, so the Hometown Cup, it was funny. It was like mainly fun, and then like a little bit of like we got competitive in the games, obviously, and I feel like it was kind of flipped at well, sort of kind of flipped at U-Wiffs that it was more about competing and trying to win, but at the same time, me, Adam, Jason, Brett, we kind of went into the weekend like no expectations. We might be outmatched as the weekend goes on. Let's just have fun, learn, get to know this play style, and just make the most of it. And so I think this was already talked about too, so I'm probably repeating, but I think that absolutely played to our advantage. None of us went in tight. None of us went in like scared or intimidated. We were just like, let's just see what we got. And I think that our hitting was just so much better than I thought, myself included, Adam, we all chipped in when needed. And it was just an incredible weekend. I learned a lot in terms of pitching, trying to pitch multiple times in a row, multiple days in a row. It's a different beast than once a week. And that's one thing that I hope I can get better at. I feel like there's some limitations in that, but I ran out of gas real fast after the first game with all the adrenaline and hype, but was able to battle through 2 in a row and get 2 wins. And that was just, it was such a great weekend, and kind of similar to Hometown Cup. I feel like me, Jason, Adam, Brett bonded so much. We all became closer that weekend, better, like excited for going back in the future. So, both of them, I hope to go play in as many national tournaments over the next however many years I've got playing wiffle ball. It was awesome.
Yeah. I'll say just watching your guys' games, like we knew you guys' pitching was going to be there. And I think we were all kind of surprised at how well you guys actually hit. Like, and that's not taking anything away from you guys. We know you're good hitters, but the pitching level is just so much higher at that tournament. And then to see all 4 of you guys hit the way you guys did, like, especially how much we struggled in MO-Wiff to hit, which
myself included.
And it makes it so much more exciting for next year coming into MO-Wiff is like, how much hitting are we actually going to have? Because we all had this so much more experience now. And but it was just so much fun to watch you guys, and you guys had so much fun. Kind of Adam, what did you think about having Jordan as a teammate at U-Wiffs? I know I would love to have him.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a blast. Jordan definitely lived up to the expectations with his pitching. Carried straight on from MO-Wiff right into U-Wiffs, and like I said, ran out of gas a little bit, but he got us 2 huge wins, got us to Sunday, and like we've been talking about, we all hit really well, and we really bonded. We kept the lineup mostly the same throughout the tournament, but we adjusted a little bit and made some, I think, good changes. But yeah, overall, like Jordan said, it was just a blast. It was so much fun, and we just, like you said, we really bonded together, and we definitely got closer that weekend than we were before.
For throwing the team together last second too. Not last second, but we were probably one of the last teams to sign up. There was a lot of who's playing with who. Do we have enough guys that are interested to come and make a second team? And like you said, I was considering trying to just be a tag along on some random team that I didn't know the guys, and that would have been fine. But the fact that we got to build another MO-Wiff team, go out there, have some success, other people learn who our league is, I think is just awesome. So I was so glad how it turned out.
It was really fun to represent our league. It was an honor for sure.
Yeah, definitely cool to watch you guys as well. So, you guys keep doing that thing. I won't be a part of that MO-Wiff Miracle team at US next year. My team is still yet to be technically announced. Some people know, some people don't. I think it'll come out real soon, but really looking forward to seeing what you guys can and build on. And I will be 100% behind you guys and being one of your biggest supporters for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully
you don't have to
meet up
pitch
in the
against
finals.
us.
Hopefully.
Unless it's the finals.
Unless it's the finals.
Exactly,
Let's
yeah.
go. You know, it's in our last little kind of thing about last year. You know, what are, I guess not really last year, you know, we'll kind of move forward to next year before we get into your new team. You know, what are you kind of, are you looking forward to anything in particular playing style? So not necessarily your team, but just kind of as like coming into your second year, are you kind of looking forward to anything, you know, maybe just having a year under your belt and you're getting better? Or what are you kind of thinking?
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to, I think we made great strides in the rule changes to just kind of make it a more balanced league. You know, from a pitching only mindset, is it fun to go out there and pitch 7 innings and strike out 20 guys?
Yes, it is.
But like for the overall health and growth of the league, I think we need some more hitting. I would like to hit better in year 2. And I think that's a big takeaway from you, Wiffs. I went in there just like, don't take it too seriously, grind out a good at bat and like see what happens. And I think I need to do that at MO-Wiff next year. Is, you know, I'd get a little tight, I'd get almost like too intense, and I just need to relax and just kind of have more fun with it, at least from the offensive side. So I think our new rules about the walk and the competitive lob and going from 2 strikes to 3 strikes will make the offense hopefully grow. And I think that's mainly what I'm looking forward to. I mean, developing this pitching, of course, there's always going to be more to learn and stuff to improve on, but I hope I can make bigger strides hitting this year too.
Yeah, I think the new rules are definitely going to be a challenge for us as pitchers, but I think that also gives us a little bit more exciting as pitchers. Is like, all right, I have a new obstacle, and like, man, I'm gonna work even harder to go out there, not walk anybody, and shut people down, because that's just, you know, that's what we did last year, and I'm gonna continue to do that. So I know it's got to be the same mindset for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be a new challenge in a new way, and honestly, will get us, I think, more ready for national tournaments, UWIFs next year. Having to, like, when we went to UWIFs, and I was like, whoa, I got to get 3 strikes. You know, I used to get into, if you get a guy 0-1 in MO-Wiff last year, it's like at bat's over. Sorry, but like you're kind of screwed. Whereas, you know, grinding out 3 strikes it'll be good practice to carry over into national tournaments and a more competitive balance that'll be more rewarding should we have those kind of games where we, you know, striking a lot of people out and throwing no hitters and stuff still. So
yeah, absolutely.
So now that we're talking about next year, I know when we were at US, we kind of had some discussions about how you were gonna come up with your team name for next year, and we had some jokes definitely coming on. But how did you land on the Archers, and what was the inspiration for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it did, the name Archers kind of, it did come about on the UWIF trip. It was when I was in the car with Brett and Sam. Sam had picked Brett and I up once he flew in to Baltimore, and we were driving, you know, the hour 15, hour 20 up to York. And we were just looking out at everything and just listing off that, like random names. And that's where some of the funny ones came up. But, you know, I think when I had thought of Archers, you know, with St. Louis, obviously the arch is pretty a staple here. And I thought that was a cool aspect, but not really taking the arch, but kind of going more Archers route. There's kind of some play on words there, but also, you know, fits in, I feel like, with the other names in our league. So I think it was, when it came down to it, I had some other some other options that I kind of liked and kind of maybe wanted, but when it came down to it, I think Archers was A, my favorite, and B, just kind of fit the league the most, was the easiest to build a logo and kind of a look around. So I think it's kind of what I settled on.
Yeah, I definitely, I do want to ask one thing too. Have you ever seen the show Archer?
No, I haven't. I probably should have, but I haven't. I know what it is, but no,
So,
maybe I'll watch it now.
And the only reason why I say this, because like your logo, the word Archer in your logo it reminds me of the like that show logo. So
Okay.
like I was like, oh, maybe he's seen that, but hey, you know, it's cool that you didn't. But yeah, no, super excited, you know, kind of see where you guys go. You know, we got the draft coming up. We're about a month away from the draft. You know, so we, you know, it does suck, you know, that we're not gonna be able to like talk about your team as a whole, but
Mhm.
I'm sure definitely in the future we will. But I'm sure that is very exciting for you to see kind of where you fit in as drafting a team. And which kind of leads me into this next question, kind of what are you looking forward to most now that you're a captain of your own team? So, moving from a player role to a like franchise owner type role, what kind of you thinking there? Like, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I just to repeat what I had said earlier, the limited, or I learned a lot last year, I guess, not the limited stuff. I learned so much last year, but what I had learned in year one, maybe carrying that on to maybe a guy who hasn't played before, if the guy ends up on my team with little to no experience, and at the same time, just kind of being the leader, I think I'm more comfortable just kind of taking that role of just being a good team player, but not necessarily wanting to step up and lead. So I think that, now kind of being the leader and not really having a choice, I'm excited to kind of develop that. And also at the same time, I do have kind of an analytical side. I've always thought like being the GM of the Cardinals would be the coolest thing in the world. So the fact that I get to be the GM of our wiffle ball team, it's kind of a little play on that, and I'm excited to evaluate guys at the spring training in a little bit, and then kind of build out a draft plan, and hopefully slowly but surely build the best team in the league.
There you go. I'll tell you, it is so much fun to just sit here and think about all that stuff. Like we haven't even got there, and I'm having so much fun. Just like, all right, I'm picturing this guy at the tryout. He's doing well. All right, cool. I'm gonna put him on my draft board. Like that part of that aspect is so much fun for me. Like I really enjoyed it, and like I think you're gonna enjoy that as well for sure.
Yeah, my dream job answer has always been GM of the Cardinals. So this is in the same ballpark.
Yeah, no,
Easy number
absolutely.
Yeah, number two, right behind it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do with that Archers franchise. It's going to be really exciting to see. Definitely have a good base and a good building block, and you're going to get one of those first probably 2, maybe 3 picks. We kind of talked about early in this episode, which you haven't listened to yet, but we kind of gave our predictions on who was going to be keeping everybody, and most teams probably are going to keep somebody. There's maybe 2 teams that don't. So you'll definitely have a top, 2, maybe 3 or 4 pick. So that'll definitely be interesting, and scary for the rest of us. Especially if you get that number 1 spot. People got to do it. Maybe 2 good pitchers on your team, so definitely something to look forward to. Are you looking for more of a pitcher or more of a hitter, or maybe are you looking at somebody that can maybe not as well as one, but that can kind of do both? What are you kind of thinking there?
That's a great question. I think it'll just come down to how the draft shakes out. If I end up in the first pick and there is a very clear another good pitcher, it'll be, with what I saw the first year, it'll be hard to pass on that person. If I can start off a team with 2 good pitchers that are reliable, I think that goes a really long way. At the same time, if maybe some of the top pitchers get kept, maybe there's not as much there, and there's a Cole Layton type hitter out there. I watched what he did year 1, and it's like, I want that on my team. Being on the Empire, I don't think I'm offending anybody, but we exactly weren't hitting the ball a lot. I'll say that when we won games, it was 1-0, and that's fun, but I want to be on a team that can hopefully put up some runs this year. So
I definitely think so.
Yeah.
All right, I do want to kind of get on to our last kind of final segment here, before we run out of time. So we did this kind of with Josh. We're gonna come up with a new name for it. We haven't yet, but I'm just gonna kind of go off some not necessarily rapid fire questions, but just some questions to kind of get to know you and kind of what your kind of thoughts are. So we'll start off with question number 1. What is your favorite pregame meal?
Favorite pregame meal? My routine this year, a lot of years, was I would get off work at 5:00, immediately hop in the car, drive out to Chesterfield as fast as I could. And I ended up stopping at Bread Co. just because it was convenient.
There you go.
Didn't make me feel too terrible. So I usually just get a sandwich or something at Bread Co. on the way. So I guess for wiffle ball, that was that for this past year.
Hey, there you go. It works. Do you believe in any superstitions?
No, not really. I think one of my for this past year is I always wanted to pitch with an arm sleeve on. I think it's a comfort thing. I always pitched with
Yeah.
one on in high school, like with pitching in baseball. So there was one week I didn't have one, and I had to borrow one from Josh. So maybe that can go down as my superstition.
We did develop a superstition last year at UWIFs with High School Never Ends in the car ride
You're
on
right.
the way to the field.
You're right. I did. I learned that song in the span of 2 days.
That's one
There
of my
you
favorite
go.
memories of the tournament right there.
That was fun.
See, that always like stuff like that's why those national tournaments are so fun. Is not necessarily the play on the field, but all the stuff behind it. You know, the
Yeah.
trips, the staying at the hotel, everything. I know I've talked to Sam Skibby, you know, last night about it, and you know, kind of working on maybe like a crossover type thing with the documentary type thing of our leagues and kind of what we do on these national tournaments.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
for
definitely would
sure.
be fun. I watched the tour last night from MLW. Phenomenal.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
I need
good.
to watch it.
Yeah, we got to pick up our pace a little bit to catch up with those guys. All right, Jordan, what is your favorite bat to use in MO-Wiff?
What a bat. I think that's my favorite. It was the one that I decided on early on. I wasn't, year one, I wasn't ready to buy a moonshot. It just felt like a little too high end. So I just went with the What a Bat, which is made by Tim
Dean.
right?
Tim Dean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super nice guy. So that was my go-to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great bat to use. What is your favorite ball to pitch with? Do you like clean, cut, or scuff?
Changed throughout the year. By the end of the year, once I had some innings under me, it was clean ball cut, which I think is the same that you use.
Yeah. So
And,
and
a lot of pitchers use.
Okay, so not a brand new clean ball, but you like it cut.
Clean cut. Yeah, I started
Yeah.
with stuffing it and cutting it, so scuff
Okay,
cut, but then I
gotcha.
went to clean cut after I
Yeah,
realized
way
that-
better.
way better.
Yeah. And what is your favorite pitch to throw? And is it with that ball?
I think my favorite pitch now is probably the screwball. It started out as kind of a hard slider cutter early in the year, but I feel like I got the screwball down, especially by UWIF. That was kind of my saving grace in UWIF as I ran out of gas and my velo dropped.
Yeah.
So
I'll definitely say I noticed how much that screwball improved over the second half of the season. First half of the season, you were just mowing down guys with that just hard slider. Like it didn't matter. You were just blowing it by everybody. And then by the end of the year, when you added that screwball, man, it was just, there was at times it was so nasty. With that 1-2 combination, untouchable.
Yeah. Thanks.
And we'll go with our last question here. Who or what team, do you enjoy playing the most? It's like
Playing
what
against
team?
the most?
Yeah. So what team or specific player do you like playing against the most?
This might be a common answer across the board if you ask people. It had to be the Melonheads. Jason talked so much, mostly friendly banter. But I feel like when you get someone like that, it's like, all right, I want to go strike him out and then laugh at him a little bit. So Jason, you're a great teammate, great to play with, but always fun to compete against.
Absolutely. I don't think anyone's going to argue there besides maybe the Melonheads.
Yeah.
But definitely fun. Definitely love that. So no arguments here because that's fun.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people like playing you guys though. I think that's a tough, that might be the number one answer going against you is no one liked playing against you guys with that
True.
great 1-2 punch. When you had to face you and Josh in the same week, man, there was times like, this sucks. Like we're not getting a hit tonight.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, Jordan, we want to thank you, man, for hopping on here with us. I really appreciate it. It was a great interview. Anything else that you want to add or, say to our fans and our listeners?
Not a much. Thanks for having me on. First of all, I was really excited when you texted me. And so I was glad that we found a time that worked. And I think, the biggest piece of advice I can give out there to anybody, whether it's our league, someone in a different league that's just listening or whoever, just sign up, give it a go. You never know. Cause that was me. I almost didn't play last year. And it's just funny to think about that. Like, I wouldn't be here and wouldn't have made all these friends. So, if you're on the fence, you're not sure about it, just give it a try. You will be surprised.
Absolutely. Adam, anything you want to add before we sign off here?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what Jordan said because I was in the same boat. Almost didn't play last year, and it really is funny to think about now because of all that we've done. And I mean, we're here making a podcast about it now, so it's a whole other level. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. I want to thank Jordan for coming on, and hopefully we can meet up again at UWIFs and be teammates again. Looking forward to that. So hopefully
Let's
that's
do it.
developing.
Hey, that MO-Wiff team, maybe I'm all in for it. Let's
Yeah.
see where it goes. You guys can add Cole this year too. Cole come
Yeah.
back. So
There we go.
hey, I love to see that. All right, guys. I want to thank you guys again. I want to thank all of our listeners and our sponsors. If you haven't, I know I say this every time, but please go check out our YouTube, our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to all of our stuff. It does go a long way, and we really appreciate it. I just want to thank you guys all one more time, and we will see you guys in about 2 weeks with our next episode. I think we're going to have Andrew Nichols on as our guest, and a couple surprises coming up in the next couple episodes. So stay tuned for that, and we will see you guys next time.
Perfect.
Peace.